Hello, and welcome to Your Daily Balance, Idaho Central Credit Union's video podcast, where we're here to bring you tips and tricks to helping you on your way to achieving financial success. And one of the things I hear all the time is people are interested in starting a new business and they don't know where to start. And so we thought it would be fun to do a podcast with some experts today. And we have Ann Swanson. Do you want to give your title and where you're from so that we can kind of get things kicked off?
My title is the director of the Southeast Idaho Small Business Development Center, and we're hosted at ISU's College of Business.
Yes, and you've been there for a long time.
Yeah, happily.
Yeah, happily, yeah.
For a long time.
Well, and we're going to get into it because you do so many really cool things to help, business owners and help them along the way with all the questions they have. So I'm excited about that today. And we have you, Christy, with us.
Hi. Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell us your title and what you do at ICCU?
I would love to. Yep. I've been with the credit union for almost 10 years, and I'm in treasury management.
And what does that mean for people who don't know what treasury management means?
It helps businesses in their operational accounts and some investment accounts, and we make sure that I'm their person to help with any of their banking needs.
Oh, so great. So great. So this is going to be really wonderful for all of those entrepreneurs that just don't know where to start. So let's start with you, Ann. When it comes to somebody who's interested in starting up their own new business, what kinds of things should they be looking at or thinking about?
I think the most important thing when you're considering that move is understanding the market. And that's sort of a big general term, like how do I understand a market? But what that boils down to is realizing your uniqueness and your place to fit in the world of consumers that's either local or national or even international. So having somebody guide you through understanding really who you can reach with your unique selling proposition.
And is that something that you guys do at the
all the time?
CDC?
Yeah,
Yes.
all the time.
Great. And what does that process look like?
It looks like me, first of all, listening a lot. So I always start, as any, I think, good consultant would, listening to people's ideas and their goals, and then asking a lot of questions. So my goal is to help people clarify for themselves, of course, rather than tell them what I think their market might be. So that's really the process, is a lot of listening and asking questions.
And then when they're ready to take the step forward, what are those next couple steps about a business plan or filing?
Those are the next steps.
Yes.
Putting together a business plan. And a business plan also can sound kind of like the word understand your market. But a business plan is not a term paper. It's basically another set of questions that you need to answer. And those answers will help you prepare for the best possible outcome. And that's something that we do. And it's very short. It's paragraphs, not pages. It's bullet lists, not charts and graphs usually. And then also with that comes not a lot, I shouldn't say. Idaho's a really easy place to start a business, but paperwork. And so we can guide you through a checklist of how to get your business entity filed and how to get all the federal tax ID numbers you need. What can you do to find a bank, or a credit union to help you manage your business assets.
Yeah, I love that. It must be so exciting. And I'm sure you kind of play a really important role to make people feel comfortable in that process, because it's a lot for people.
It is a lot. And inside the entrepreneurial mind is kind of 1,000 questions and concerns and dreams all running around together in a sometimes a continuous loop, right? And so a big part of my job is helping people extract what they already know and have some confidence that they may have more skills in this arena than they think. Mm-hmm. And then also to help people decide what's important, because a lot of what goes around in someone's mind is really not, or it needs to wait till later. So helping people organize and prioritize and sort those thoughts and ideas.
I think that's fascinating, and I'm sure it's really, really helpful. And then, Christy, when they come to you, so at that point, they've filed the paperwork with the state and things like that, but they're ready to open their business account, and that's kind of where you step in and kind of help them get on their feet on the financial side.
Yeah. So at that point, we would need their Secretary of State filing that Ann helped them with, their EIN that they filed as well. And once we have that, we can have a really good discovery meeting with them and decide, what does this look like for your business? The great thing about ICCU is we can grow with your business. So if you start small and your business keeps growing and growing, we can do that with you as well. We have a suite of products and services to help with your business growth.
What are some of the most common initial products and services that you think people are like, man, I didn't realize that it would be that easy to have?
Sure. Yeah.
This.
So for starters, we need to open up a share savings account. We have multiple different operational checking accounts depending on what you're looking for. We have a small business checking that we can start you off with, and of course we can change that as things grow. But we also have we have our treasury services, and those are services to help your business function, whether that's bringing in funds from your customers quickly through merchant service processing or through automatic payments. But we also have a way to send payments too. So sending them through electronic payments of ACH origination, paying with even a credit card, and helping your payables and your receivables extended out and coming in quicker. It kind of just depends on what your unique needs are for your business.
Wow, I love that. And really that's something that you and other team members are set up to walk them through. Like,
absolutely.
You just sit down and kind of figure out what that looks like.
Yeah, we have a whole team spread across the whole state of Idaho and up into Washington that can help meet with you virtually or in person to decide what you're needing for your business.
Wow. Yeah. I love it. And we hear great feedback, like that it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I think when they work with the combination of, the SBDC and really fantastic experts that like what we have at ICCU, I mean, that really helps it go along really smoothly.
Yeah, I agree. I think having your team and knowing that there's a team out there to help you is very important.
There are people on your side there.
That's right.
Yes. So what kinds of things do you see people kind of maybe moving down the path, but it could be a mistake, and there's some common mistakes that you might recommend people avoid?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is succumbing to fear of missing out. And that happens when maybe an opportunity presents. Somebody found a building that they think would be perfect and the lease needs to be signed today. Or somebody's got a fantastic opportunity to buy a business from a friend, and there seems to be some kind of timeline or other sort of like, I've got to do this now or it's never going to happen. And when those kinds of feelings, and because a business is a very emotional undertaking,
yes.
Right? So having somebody with you to help you just take a step back, take a breath, so you don't make any big financial moves right out of the gate, I think is very important. So that's a mistake I see people making, is committing to a big financial commitment, lease, or maybe even borrowing money from a friend or family that doesn't need to happen yet. And I think that dovetails into another recommendation that I make for businesses, and that is to start small. Lean startup is kind of a Silicon Valley catchphrase, but it really applies to small businesses as well. So how can we help you start small and then grow with partners like ICCU to help make sure that your foundation is really stable?
Yeah. One of the things that you can help with too is helping them build their brand.
Yeah.
And how do you do? I know we're marketing people,
At my
we
core.
can't help it. Yeah. But how do you do that? How do you sit down with them? Because really, how long is your relationship with those business owners? It's not just at the startup. I mean, it can go on for.
We actually work with about 40% startups and about 60% existing businesses.
Yeah.
So we work with businesses at all stages. I think we're probably best known for startups, but that's not where we start and end for sure. But when someone comes in with a new business and needs to develop the brand, the first question I ask them is, okay, what is your unique selling point? And what is it that you offer to the market that other people don't? Or what is it that you offer better? So that's always where the conversation starts, is understanding, we call them value propositions. What are those? And then connecting that to an audience. And the more specific you can get with connecting the value proposition to an audience, the better. So I can give you an example of that. I worked with a new counseling practice, someone who's just starting out. And our first conversation was, well, who do you resonate the most with? When you see clients in your practice, who do you do the best with? And she said, well, I do best with women in religious transition and 55-year-old fly fisher type guys. And I said, actually, that's great, because the more defined your value or your market niche is, the easier it is to brand. So we actually had one set of marketing materials for fly fisher or middle-aged men, which is very different from women in religious transition marketing materials. But that kind of question and answer process applies to branding too. And then from there, I can help people with a tactical marketing plan.
Yeah, that is fascinating. And I love how you really helped that business owner really hone in to what that looked like.
Yep.
And that's what I'm hearing from you, is making sure that you have a very specific plan and that you don't kind of get pulled off very easily.
Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up.
Yeah.
Is that in business, the more specific you get, the easier your job will be in the long run. In the short term, it's a little bit harder, because you have to do a lot of thinking and planning and research about, where you fit in the consumer market. And once you get that, though, it makes so much easier to do all that comes after that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of the way I kind of wanted to wrap this up today is, how do people continue that relationship with us? And I'll start with you, Christy. How do members continue that relationship with us? You said, you can start small and kind of keep growing through. How do they continue the education and reaching out to us for different resources?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. We have, like I said, a huge team there to support. They can go into the branch and they can work with their FSO that they're working with, their loan officer. Depending on the size of business, that's when we get more of our business relationship department involved, and where I would come in and help too. And I see that growth and I go along with them, and I'm just a phone call and an email away.
Yeah, and you can always answer those questions for them and refer them to different resources. Yeah. And what would you say about that too, Anne?
Well, businesses go through life cycles just like all of us, right? And we talked a lot about startup, but our bread and butter business a lot of times involves helping people expand. We have clients that have started exporting to foreign countries with us. We've had clients who want to eventually sell their business, have an exit, and we help with that process too. So we really are a lifespan resource for business, like ICCU is as well. Yeah, and the only caveat is that they have to stick with us, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's show up, for your appointments with the SBDC, show up for your appointments with your banker, with your accountant. And if you spend that time working on your business as well as in your business, that's a great recipe for success.
Yeah. And like, I love what you're saying there, because it's not just the kickoff on the right foot, it's the continued investment and the continued professional learning and all of that kind of stuff. That's great. Thank you for joining us. And remember, there are lots of resources out there to help you, just like the SBDC and ICCU. We're here to support you every step of the way. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to be notified of future episodes, and we will see you next time.